What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button, smack it. Later, smack down, like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up and a message out. Do it now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you can call in. You guys know this. You can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we could talk about whatever you want, whatever's on your heart. If you want to talk about the turtle being thrown in the ocean, we could talk about it. If you want to talk about why I got rid of Pete, if you want to talk about why I launched him deep into the ocean, he wouldn't go. He kept coming back. Whatever you want to talk about, we can get into it. And if for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV and send your question or comments there, or go directly to the YouTube live chat. Hit the super chat button. Also send your question or comments there, and I'll read them live on air. And as they come in, amazing stuff. You know, what's today? What is today? All right. Today is True Crime Tuesday. Okay. So we got a little true crime story. Listen, when I tell you that this one is wild, I don't even know what to even tell you. When I tell you that this one is wild, it is worse than me abandoning Pete, the turtle. It is worse than that, I'm telling you, because the chat seems to think that that's the worst thing that I did was tossing Pete in the ocean. But listen, that's neither here nor there. That's in the past, okay? Let's move on. We got things to discuss. Pete is doing just fine. He's happy. He's roaming Earth, and he's on his own by himself, and he's not constricted or a slave to a family. He can move about wherever he wants, as much as he wants. If he wasn't eaten by the pelicans that were surrounding the little area that we put him in. But anyway, God's cooking on him. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. But anyway, listen. We're going to jump right into it. Shout out to my t-shirt here from the rebuildingtheman.com/stores. All Thoughts Are Lies t-shirt. Make sure you guys check that out. Get you one. It fits great. Feels good on the skin. And also, it's not too tight. And it's just a good fit. Good material. Make sure you guys check that out. rebuildingtheman.com/stores and get you some Bond merch. Punchy TV merch coming soon. JFTV merch coming soon. Be on the lookout. All right, cool. Let's move on. I don't know if you guys heard of Ruby Franke. Okay, are you guys familiar with Ruby Franke? Ruby Franke. There's a documentary on HULU. Okay. And the documentary is called Devil in the Family. The Fall of Ruby Franke. Okay. And Ruby Franke was a mother of 6, married to Kevin Franke. Okay, I got a little photo here for you guys. Right? Just looking like a beautiful family. They were Mormons. Right? Very religious, very strong believers in their own belief. We'll get into that. But just looking like a happy family. Well, they started a YouTube channel, and they named that YouTube channel 8 Passengers, right? And this was just like a typical vlog, family vlog YouTube channel that most of the neighborhood had. Most of the people in their community and in their Mormon community, they were doing family vlogs, right? to showcase to the world that the Mormon religion was a great thing and families are happy here and we're doing what we're doing and we want the world to see how happy we are. Look, beautiful looking family, white family, 6 children. You know what I mean? I think a boy was first. No, the girl was first. The boy came second. Maybe that was the problem. Anyway. And look, they just look like a happy family. And then here's another one. You would never know what went down behind the scenes of this grotesque story. I don't even have the word. I'm going to muster up the words to tell you guys what happened. Just a maiden step, but we're going to break down. If you guys did not see the documentary on, if you guys have not yet seen a documentary, make sure you guys go check that out on Hulu. Devil in the Family, The Fall of Ruby Franke. So let's get into the details, okay? So they start off to this family, they start doing this vlog thing, and they seem very happy, right? They're doing this YouTube channel. They seem very happy. Everything's going well. And they're just posting clips. And some of the clips that get posted on the channel go viral, right? And people are starting to gravitate to this YouTube channel, right? They look like a happy family. They just do fun stuff behind the camera. They're all laughing. The kids are goofballs. And they're all just having this as a good time. The parents are in on it too. Everyone's smiling, laughing. The internet loves it, right? They become this like hit on the internet, especially in their communities. They get this little buzz and they're posting more and more, right? And the viewers, right? The audience, the comment section, the chat is praising Ruby Franke for having such a great family and being such a great mom. Because by the way, Ruby is the one that's running this YouTube channel, right? She's the one recording. She's the one posting these clips to begin off with, right? She's the one doing all the work. And, you know, so the internet's praising her like, oh, wow, you're such a good mother. This is so great. You're an inspiration to all of us around the world. And she becomes like this image of the mother of the community, the mother of her audience, right? And she takes on that persona, right? She takes it on, and now she's got this little buzz. And mind you, the husband, beta as they come, as beta as it gets, just following suit, right? Just following suit. And it gets to a point where they're getting so popular, they're making a lot of money, right? They got this buzz, and the husband talks about how he was so happy that the money was coming in and this was changing their family's life, right? Normal stuff, nothing crazy. But as they're getting this attention, it starts to get crazy, right? Because now they're becoming this TV personality, and now the narrative starts to change a little bit. Now Ruby, who's in charge of this whole operation, is posting every day, right? Cameras out all the time, right? Showing everybody what's going on in her household. At every moment she's pulling out her camera, right? And things are all going good until they stop. Lord have mercy. The kids start getting a little aggravated, right? The kids start getting a little aggravated. They don't want to always just be on camera all the time, because at every moment she's just popping out the camera, right? The kids are getting frustrated. They don't want to do this anymore. And they stop complying with this YouTube thing. You could see it on camera, right? And mind you, on this documentary, they're showing unreleased footage of behind the scenes of them recording, right? And the kids don't want to do it anymore. So she starts to try to make them do it, right? She starts to try to like force them to do it. And like now it becomes like putting on this image, right? Putting on this like persona of looking like a happy family. And I remember the husband started saying something in one of the videos. She turned on the camera and she is trying to get the husband to speak, right? Trying to get him to say something on camera. He didn't know what to say. He's like, I don't know what to say. And she gets ticked, right? In the video, she just you could just see she just looks ticked. And he looking at her and he's like, okay, I'll make something up just to please her, right? And he makes something up and then she turns that smile right back on and does the video, right? So it starts becoming this act, right? Kids aren't having it. It's going crazy. And really quick, I want to tell you, really quick before we move on, how bad the husband was, right? And before they got married, he had knew her from the community, right? He's seen her around the community. And he had found out that she had this list, right? And this list was consisting of all the men in the community that she had a crush on, right? And then she had the pros and cons listed within this list, like all the good things about these men, all like she had this whole like diagram, right? Of how the guys like really kind of like crazy kind of stuff. But I guess that's typical. Most people kind of write out what they want, whatever. But this was like in detail, right? And then that her husband, now husband, but wasn't husband at the time, found that list. Kevin found that list, and he said that he studied that list to the T so he could win her over. And he did whatever he could to get her, and he got her, and he married her. So I just want to set that preface so you guys know the type of beta the husband is, okay? So they're doing the channel, and then now they're starting to pretend. Now they're starting to fake it. And at this point, the children are starting to be disobedient. They're no longer, especially the young ones, they're no longer following the rules. And she feels like something's going on. Something's wrong here. And she's trying to fix it. So she's constantly behind the scenes yelling at the kids, telling them what to do, telling them to stand in your place, making them watch videos, it becomes like this job to them, right? And all they're doing is trying to pretend that there's this happy family, right? But the son, one of the oldest sons, like, I can't do this. So they're really having struggles with his oldest son. So then Ruby hires this therapist. Lord have mercy. Do I have a picture of this therapist? Ruby hires this therapist, okay? And her name is Jody Hildenbrandt, right? This therapist, renowned, known for working with a lot of people at the, I assume, I never heard of her, hires this therapist to help out with the family. Now, mind you, she's on an ego trip, this therapist, and, she has a meeting with the family, and Ruby's like, I'm trying to get my family together, they're not obeying me. And then Jody basically co-signs that. Like, yeah, your son, he's acting up. He's wrapping, he has you guys wrapped around his finger. He's disobedient, right? Saying all these things, right? And Ruby's like, you're right. So they hire Ruby and they continue to be his coach. But what happens is that Jody and Ruby start to like mentally beat their family into submission, right? Because Ruby is going crazy with this YouTube stuff. She's going like out of control. She's becoming a nutcase with these things. And she manipulates and brainwashes the family with the therapist into believing that what they're doing is of God. What they're doing is sending a good message. And The reason why they don't want to do it is because they're disobeying. The children are being disobedient, right? So the mother, Ruby and Jody, threaten the kid, like, if you don't get your act together, then we're gonna send you off. We're gonna ship you off to military camp. And he gets scared, right? He doesn't want that. And then at the same time, she punishes the kid, puts him in a room by himself for 7 months, and he sleeps on a beanbag or something like that. And she posts this online. What the? She posts this online, and everybody online goes crazy. They're like, this is insane. This not even right. Why would she? This is child abuse, right? And everybody in chat turns on her. Comment section gone, right? They're hating her. All she's getting is hate comments. They turn on her. And Ruby doesn't know what to do. She's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to stand up for Jesus. She literally this whole time believes that she's doing this for God. She believes that she's righteous in what she's doing. The way she's disciplining her children, the way she's forcing them to do this YouTube, the way she's trying to fake this stuff. At one point, the young son is sitting there and she's recording. She's like, you need to be obedient. You need to do what I tell you to do and speak to this camera. He's like, I'm trying. I just can't. I can't fake it. I'm trying. She's like, listen, you're going to get on this camera and you're going to fake it. You're going to pretend like you're happy and you're going to make everybody believe that you are. Something like that, right? And he's like, I can't. And she gets ticked. On camera. So at this point, she's just nutcase. So anyway, they're doing this thing. And the whole family's brainwashed at this point. They honestly believe that they're doing it for God. Then everybody turns on, all the people in chat turn on her. She no longer has this popular channel anymore. They're calling her an abuser and a child abuser and all these different things. So then her plight changes, right? Now her mission becomes teaching mothers how to discipline their children. So she makes a YouTube channel with this lady called Jody, the therapist. Lord, it's about to, listen, y'all. When I tell you it's about to get insane, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm gonna do my best to explain this crazy situation. They start this channel. These two people right here, right? Rudy Franke on the left, Jody Hildenbrand on the right, right? These two women, they start this YouTube channel called Moms of Truth, and they just get into biblical principles of how to raise your children and how to do all these things, right? First off, I want to say why it's so important not to why women should not be in the limelight, whether it be giving advice to people, whether it be being therapists, whether it be being YouTube stars. It's not a good idea. And their story is a perfect example because you start to see that when ladies get a taste of this fame, a taste of this thing, right, and they're running the show, their ego goes out of control to the point of no return sometimes. That's what I'm saying. It's like to the point of no returns. And the reason why it's this way is because they're not designed to handle this type of pressure, handle this type of attention. It's not in them. So in order to stay afloat, they have to go to a different source of energy to use this stuff, which is the ego, right? Because the spirit ain't working on their behalf because they ain't supposed to be there. So Satan convinces them, and they use their emotions and all these different things that gets them by, but they go to hell in a handbasket, like Jesse would say, literally. So let's move on. So they start this channel, right here, called Moms of Truth. Not only do they start this channel, this is where it gets crazy. They start this women's group, right? This women's group where they do like these meetings every I don't know, often a few times a week, and it starts to get popular, and it turns into this cultish type meeting thing where they start looking at the therapist Jody as like a god, right? They're looking at, she's like the savior. She's speaking on things that's so different. She's making sense. They even convinced the men to drink the Kool-Aid with this. They had a men's meeting that Jody ran. And it was all the husbands in the men's meeting, how to be better husbands. And she would just be putting the husbands down. And they would have these meetings, the men were all in there, and they were just trying to be better husbands, according to Jody, right? But at one point, Jody starts to highlight that Ruby's husband is doing so well in these meetings, right? He's doing so well. I'm just pointing out that just how crazy the situation is. And Jody's like, you know what? Your husband is doing so well. I made him the leader in the men's group. And now Ruby's starting to love him, right? Starting to love him more. And the husband says, I didn't care what was going on. All I cared the most about was that Ruby loved me. She finally looked at me as the man that I wanted her to look at me as, right? It was all about praising the wife. His only plight was to praise the wife. He wanted acceptance from the wife, and he was completely, I don't have the words to explain how subject to his wife it was. She was God. She was the God of the family, and he looked up to her and went to her from everything through this whole situation. So, anyway, moving on. I got to move on a little bit quicker. So then now they start this channel, and then they start doing these meetings, right? That turn into like this cultish type thing. These women's of the community, right? Women and men of the community. And as they're doing these meetings, Lord have mercy, they start feeling like something big is coming, right? They're feeling like they're a part of this big plan, that they have this purpose that they're offering the world, and something big is coming, right? Lord have mercy. And they're preparing for it, and the meetings are getting serious, and they're really, influencing these ladies and men, right? And then out of nowhere, COVID hits, right? COVID hits, and they're thinking that it's the end of the world, right? They're preaching that it's the end of the world, that it's time that we stand firm and that we show people who God is. And they overreact to COVID, right? They buy all kinds of supplies. You know how the people did in the world. You know how they did. They went and bought tissue, all kinds of tissue. Bought up all the tissue. No food, though, but bought up all the tissue, right? They did that. And Jody had in her little house, she had a $5 million house, beautiful house. She had like a little bunker, right? And she stacked that bunker with food, tissue, the whole nine, right? And they thought that the world was ending, and that their purpose was to save people. So they start getting really caught up in that and overreacting to the China, the COVID-19. And then Jody, the leader of the group of all this stuff, starts feeling sick. Lord have mercy. She starts feeling sick. And then she's trying to explain to the people that she feels like a demon is following her. Lord, she did not realize she was the demon. The demon was in her. Right? She's saying the demon's following. He's trying to take us down, trying to take me down. And I can't shake him, right? And she's telling Ruby and the husband, and Ruby and the husband believe her, right? They're like, yeah, that's true. What are we going to do? And she feels like she's being attacked by a demon, right? So what do Ruby and Kevin do? They move her in to their home, right? The demon-possessed lady, seeing demons, they move her into her home, right? And she starts doing meetings from the home. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, she goes into this possession. She's like, they should this, and there's footage of this on the Hulu documentary. She gets possessed by a demon, right? Because once you get deeper into this stuff, like the demons start taking over. But in their mind, they're thinking they're on the side of righteousness. They thinking that they're on the side of God. They think that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? And meanwhile, the devil is just playing them, deceiving them, and using them to get his agenda across. That's exactly what was happening. So she's possessed, and in the video, it shows her like convulsing and like, when people are possessed and the devil speaking through her, and he's saying like, she's mine, get away, and all this stuff, right? So she's going in and out. She's possessed one time, she's not. She's possessed one time, she's not. And then in the midst of her being possessed throughout this time, this process, she's still doing these meetings, right? The demon is in her. And she's still running these meetings from home, right? And people are still going to them. People are still listening. And Ruby and Kevin know what's going on, and they still follow, right? So at this point, the devil is just all in there, and it gets worse. Lord have mercy. Bear with me, y'all. And it gets worse. So now, what happens when the devil's fully involved? What does he have to do? What does he have to do? He has to get rid of the men, right? Jody and Ruby are now running the show and are convinced that Ruby's children and family and husband are possessed, that they're the ones possessed by demons, and that their demons are what's ruining the family, right? So what happens? Ruby kicks the husband and the oldest son out the house and blames them for the downfall of their family because the family's going crazy, right? She blames the husband, kicks the husband out. Husband's like, I understand. I'll go. And the boy was so brainwashed that he leaves the house, right? Because his mom, they don't want him there, right? He feels like he's wrong, and he's doing whatever he can to try to get back in the house. He's finally set free from the mess, the abuse, all the stuff that's going on. He's finally set free. And yet, while he's in his own place, he got his own little apartment, his own spot, freedom, he's still doing meetings and counselings with the therapist, the demon-possessed therapist, in order to become a better person so he can move back in the house. Crazy. It doesn't get more delusional, right? But he's just brainwashed. He's been brainwashed since a kid. He's been beaten into submission, into believing that he's the wrong one, and his mind has him convinced that his parents are right, and they're totally controlling them, manipulating them and everything, but he's just lost in the sauce. That's why I say the parents got to go to jail, because they do this to the children, right? They screw the children's mind up and then say, why would you? Then they blame the children for their mind being screwed up when it's them who did it, right? This boy is free from slavery and wants to get back in the house because he feels like he should be enslaved. Isn't that crazy? So anyway, I'm almost done. So she kicks the men out the house, and now it gets worse, right? It gets even worse. The children that are left are like another little boy and a few girls, right? Now she believes that her children are possessed, right? They're issued, they're possessed. And she gets closer and closer to this therapist, right? They start teaming up, and they're already so evil. They're already so lost, right? Thinking that they're doing this for the Lord. They're already so jacked up. they start like abusing the children, right? They start starving the children, thinking that they are ridding the children from the demons, right? They start starving children. They start putting the children in like little, separating them, right? Putting them in the basement, leaving them there for long periods of time, not feeding them, right? Putting them out in the sun with like duct tape on their ankles and handcuffs on their hands and making them stand out there until the devil is gone. They put them in the middle of the desert and make them run until the devil's gone. And there was videos of her saying, I will not feed you until the devil is gone, right? To her children, saying that the devil's in the children. And it gets so dark and that nasty that they end up moving in together, the Jody and Ruby, right? They end up moving in together and they lock themselves in the room at night. And on the documentary, no one knows what was going on in the room, right? No one knows that they're alleged, say that they were messing around, right? They were, getting intimate, right? But they said in the documentary, we weren't sure. We just went in there and found like oils and stuff like that. But the reason why, and listen, I wasn't there, I wouldn't know, so I don't know. But the reason why I question maybe something was going on between these two ladies, like intimately, is because it says it in the Bible. When you reject the truth and you deny me, then I will give you over to a dark heart, and all the perversions in your heart will come about, and you will get deeper and deeper and deeper in those perversions. So who knows? I don't know where they may have just developed this type of thing, but we don't know. So I won't harp too much on that. But that happens. That happens. And then, anyway, they're abusing these children. The boy breaks out from the house, right? This little boy, the little son, he breaks away from the house and he goes to 3 neighbors' house, right? 2 of them don't answer. The third one answers. And, well, they didn't answer at first and he's about to walk away. They open the door. He's like, could I ask for your help? Could you call the authorities for me? Right? And if you look at him, he is so skinny. He is so, watch, I'll show you a picture. Oh, it didn't save. It's probably best. I didn't show you. You guys don't see how he looked. He was so food depraved, skinny, crazy looking kid. And he's just a little kid under probably 12, starving. And he asked the family, could I just, could you help me? And the police get involved, and finally, one last detail, and then we're wrapping up. The police get involved, and now they're on to the family. Jody calls the husband, Kevin. Oh, my. Jody calls Kevin, her husband, and says, I'm not Jody, I'm sorry, Ruby, says, listen, I know we haven't talked in a year. She kicked him out. They didn't speak for a year. He didn't see the kids for a year, right? In his mind, he's still believing that this is the right thing to do. And he's just obeying his wife and staying away. Ruby calls the husband and said, Kevin, I need you to go pick up our kids. They are possessed by demons. And you need to go there and save them because one of them went out and told the police on us of what we're doing. You need to go get them. And he says, okay, right away. Hangs up and he goes. And he admits in the documentary he just wanted to do whatever he could to serve Ruby. Straight up. Straight up. And in his mind, he kept saying that he was justifying everything that he was doing because he believed that it was right. He was just so brainwashed, caught up in this mess. But I think he still knew. He was aware. He was aware of his behavior. But the woman was his God. He praised his wife. He wanted to be with her so bad that he would accept anything, right? So he goes to pick them up, and then the kids aren't there, and the neighbors are telling the husband, like, dude, what's going on with you? You've been brainwashed about all these stuff. You know, basically telling him like what's been going on. He's and he explains, but long story short, he starts to realize that all of it was a lie, right? He starts to realize that all of it was a lie. They bring him to the police bring him to the wherever to pick up the children, right? And but they don't let him touch the children. They're like, because the police that went and got the children, right? They broke in. They found one of the other daughters in a room, skinny too, just locked in there by herself, just in there, and she wouldn't even talk. She was alive, but she wouldn't speak to the police, right? She just sitting there shaking, skinny, right? Because she was being abused, hungry, starving. Police take them to the police station. That's when the husband goes. And he's like, I'm here to get my kids. Listen to this. This story is long, but we're finishing up right now. He's like, I'm here to get my kids. And the police are like, did you know that the past year your wife had your kids locked up and she's been not feeding them and abusing them and putting duct tape around their ankles and making them run in the sun and handcuffs on their hands and all these things. And he told them, he said in the documentary that he believed in his mind at that moment that the cops were playing a trick on him and they were just trying to deceive him, right? That he must defend his family and not believe the cops. That's how brainwashed he was. He was believing that the cops were against him to try to destroy his family, and the cops were wrong, and him and his wife were right. He's still believing that they're in the right. And eventually he starts to see that he's been brainwashed, and he breaks down, right? He breaks down. And and the end of this, to end it off is Ruby and Jody get charged for 6 counts of child abuse, and they end up going to prison for 30 years. Okay? There's a mugshot. In their mind this whole time, they truly believed that they were doing something righteous of God. When in all reality, they were the ones possessed by the demons. They were the ones possessed. And I say that all to say this, is that they knew deep down that they were wrong, right? That they were evil. They knew deep down that they were evil. They knew that what they were doing was not proper, right? They knew that that was the case, but the devil would not let them accept it, right? The devil would not let them accept it. Why? Because their ego was out of control. They were feeding off their ego. They were feeding off their own ego. They knew deep down, but the devil would not let them accept it. So the devil told them all kinds of lies in their mind that they were the ones saving the world. They were the ones saving their family. They were the ones fixing people's problems, right? Meanwhile, they were the very ones destroying people, right? Destroying people because they were possessed. They had the devil in them. And they knew this, but the devil wouldn't let them accept it, right? So in that, God turned them over to a dark heart, and their evil just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And if it wasn't for that little boy breaking free, going to a neighbor's house, then who knows what would happen to the children? Maybe they would have died. But none of the children died. They probably have so many issues now. But they went to jail for 30 years. Isn't that crazy? All in the name of Jesus. All in the name of Jesus. That can happen. This is my last point. To anybody, any of us. That can happen to any of us at any point if you do not check yourself and be honest. Denial is a crazy thing. Denial because you're afraid of what the results might be. Denial because you're afraid of what you might discover. Doesn't matter. Denial is your biggest enemy because you're not setting yourself free by admitting to the truth to yourself. You don't got to say it out loud to the world, to yourself, to God. Being honest about your behavior, being honest about what you've done, and admitting to it and being straightforward. Because when you're in denial, God can't help you and he'll give you away and let the devil have his game. And that can happen to any of us because all it takes is the ego. The ego's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game. All it takes is ego to get puffed up and you start judging, thinking you're righteous, but you're the devil. We are the devil when we judge. We are. Because we're not seeing the full picture and we're up on a high horse. And if that gets carried away, then you'll start thinking that you're God, because it's playing God. And then the rest of the world needs to be saved. Meanwhile, you're the one with the demon. You know what I mean? So it's a dirty game. And you got to keep your eyes on yourself and stay honest. Don't think of yourself as good either. That's another setup. Don't think of yourself as good. Not or bad either, right? But don't think of yourself as a good person. Stop striving to be good people. And just know that we're nothing without God leading us and guiding us to all things. And let that be enough, right? Let that be enough, right? As soon as you think you're a good person, you're cooked. And now you got an expectation. Now you have an identity. Without God, we're nothing. We have no power. We're nothing. And it's best we accept that way and know that everything that comes from us is God allowing it to happen, leading us through. And that's enough to know. Anything else is the evil one, the wicked one. So, Lord have mercy. There you go. True Crime Tuesday. All right, y'all. I got some calls. People want to get in on this. I'm going to get to some calls and then some super chats. Let me go to Justin out of California. Justin, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Joel. How you doing?
All is well, Justin. How are you?
Doing exceptionally well. This is Fine Tuesday. I just was wanting to get on this call because it looked like, I appreciate you taking my call. It looked like the judicial system is not really fair, because sometimes people, they commit murder, but they don't get to the death penalty. And in this case, they get 30 years, but they don't kill their children, but they torture them. And luckily, the child was able to go to the neighbor. But how might we review something that occurred like this? Is this something that should be where our country gets more strict, where parents are more held accountable for their actions and raising other little human beings?
I think parents should be held more accountable. I think that if parents were held more accountable about this stuff, then that's when they'll think twice. And I think 30 years is a long time. I think that's it's deserving of what went on, and I think that's long enough to in my opinion.
Well, how many how many children were affected? Right? Are we talking about one or like
all of them
children?
well, the ones that looked that got it the most were the youngest ones because the oldest ones kind of moved out.
Okay.
But there were it was 6 counts of child abuse, so they all got they were all considered in the yeah. But
each one should get 30 years for each count. That would be equal, you know.
I mean, they're probably like in their 40s, the Ruby and Jody at this point. So 30 years, they'll be in their 70s in jail. So they're basically done. Life is done for them at that point anyway. I'm not so much worried about if they should get more or less. The point is that justice was served in this way. I also feel like the husband should have went to jail as well.
Yeah.
Because the husband was set off free and saw as a victim. But though he was honest in the interviews, he still was there. He still was trying to, he put his wife's needs above his children. He was doing all these different things to praise this woman, and yet he got off free. So I do think that there's still some holes in the system, but
it doesn't seem too just. Yeah, the justice system needs to be revamped. It doesn't seem too
right,
just.
Right. But it's better than nothing.
Yeah, better than nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to end it with a scripture, if I can. That's okay.
Yeah, really quick.
Just to bring it back to Jesus. So in Deuteronomy 6:5, it says, "And thou shalt love your Lord, or thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might." So if we love each other just as much as we love the Lord, these kind of things would never occur. So I think accountability for parents, that's the utmost.
Yeah, 100%. Justin, appreciate it, man. Call me again.
All right. Have a good day.
You as well. Women, stay out of these positions. That's all I'm saying. Stay out of positions, right? It also says in the Bible is that the women are made to be the helpers of men, and women are to represent the men. Men are to represent God. What I take that as is that men are to be out in the public. Men are to be out and about and give glory to God through their pursuits, right? Whether it be whatever they got going on, their jobs, their businesses, their influence, their whatever jobs that they get their hands on. They're the ones that are supposed to be out and about doing it. The women are not supposed to be out there in the public like that. They're supposed to be at home, right? In the or in the shadows, right? Because not everyone's gonna get married, not everyone's gonna have children, and that's fine too. Doesn't mean that the woman still can't find a job, right? But she's meant to stay in the shadows. She's not meant to be in the forefront. Not because somebody said that that's mean. No, it's because they're not designed for that, right? You go out of order is when you see the consequences of it, right? You separate from God. And that's why you got to really discover what your place is in the world so you can actually find peace and live in that properly and not try to do all these things, right? Not try to grasp onto this fame or grasp onto these different things for the sake of success or money or security or anything. No, and unfortunate, Ruby had a husband who was very weak, very submissive, but he's been jacked up by his parents. You know what I mean? He had a jacked up life and he found security in her for whatever reason. So it was all jacked up to begin with. But just don't be doing all this stuff. You know what I mean? And if you do it, watch yourself so you learn. You know what I mean? Let me go to Jamil out of Canada. Jamil, welcome to the show. A few minutes left here.
Bob Luck, Pogs, how you doing, man?
All is well, Jamil.
Good to hear from you, man.
You as well.
Real quick, I heard what you were saying. I tuned in and I heard it. And I just wanted to make a comment on you bringing about, talking about the fact that people, they convince other people that they are possessed, sometimes not even knowing, I think most of the time personally, not even knowing that they are also possessed,
Yeah.
I don't want to get into too much detail. I know you got short time, but I have seen that happen in my life so many times.
Yeah.
Where and it usually comes from the family, to be honest with you, because it's kind of hard for people on the outside to convince you of that. But it usually happens with children. I've noticed that the outside world could go to children and convince them of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that happens a lot of time in schools in particular, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where teachers will come and say, oh, this is how your household should be. This is how it should be run, this and that. And at the same time, those people, they're not running their household the way they're telling you your parents should run their household,
Yeah.
I just want to know, though, when you say that, like people should be punished, especially even if they're brainwashed like this gentleman, because as far as we understand the law, from what I've heard you saying, is the law basically said this man is he's not stable in his mind. Something's not going on, right?
Right.
He didn't know what he was doing,
Yeah.
Could you honestly say that this man, and I know this is going to be controversial, but could you honestly say that you're going to punish somebody that is brainwashed? Like imagine a child that is totally brainwashed to go and commit crimes. And they're kids.
Yeah.
We understand that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
We know it because we're grown. But at the same time, brainwashing has no age limit. There is no such thing as the devil saying, because you're young or old, that I'm not going to send somebody, my demons or somebody else with demons, to possess you and control you and brainwash you.
100%. And I'm going to tell you why. And you're making good points, but I'm going to tell you why they should still be punished is because deep down at the same time, they know what they were doing. You still know the truth still hits you. God is not just allowing you to go oblivious in your ignorance. No, he reveals the truth, but people reject it and Satan will not allow them to accept it. But the opportunity was there and they continue on in their mess. So these things, these things happen. The punishment happens, the fall happens, so people can land flat, face down on the ground to wake them up. So then now they can make the change. But they had many chances on the way. They just didn't take them.
But like what? Because I've heard you say this a couple of times through the broadcast. You were saying the devil does not allow them, and it goes back to me hearing you guys, you guys reminding me about the trance. And when you're in the trance, you see yourself doing something, and you know you shouldn't do it, but that is the trance itself.
Well, let me tell you that. You're already running out of time. Let me run out of time here. Is yes, but the reason why the devil won't allow them to do it is because what he does is he puts fear in their mind. He's not distracting them from it. He's putting fear in their mind that if they admit to this, if they entertain this, then they're going to be this bad person, right? And they're afraid to accept that. But that was still an opportunity that they seen that they could have took to go there anyway. Let me just make sure that I'm not delusional here. Let me just make sure I'm not losing my mind. But know that when I say the devil won't let them, it's because he's just making them see, well, if you do that, then you're going to open up a can of worms that you don't want to. So then they ignore it. But they still have an opportunity.
Real quick, if the fear that we talk about oftentimes, which I've also experienced in my own life, this fear, which could be so excruciating, and you can come out of fear with no scars physically on your physical body, but in the spirit, in the mind, you are totally broken down. This fear is so scary, it's so intense. I don't know. I can't, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if I can agree with someone's in. That fear is literally like the drug that the devil gives you.
Man, this is so good, Jamil, but I'm so out of time. There's another show coming up.
That's okay.
Call me.
That's okay.
Call me again tomorrow if it makes sense, and then we'll pick back up on it.
But I appreciate you, brother. Have a good day, man.
Thank you, Jamil.
God
Appreciate
bless you.
it.
All right.
I gotta end. You guys, the rest of the callers, I appreciate you guys calling in. Call me tomorrow, and we'll pick right back up on this. I'll go to you first if you're on the line. So we'll get into American Anchor Baby's coming in right now. American Anchor Baby, rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. Check him out. I gotta end y'all. Until next time, I'll see you back here for some more mess tomorrow. All right, bye.